Well, my people, ever since I've been on the campaign for change of system of governance in Nigeria, or we can then practice the true federalism that the Constitution specify. If not, confederal system of government would have been the best system for Nigeria to practice, and is going to give people much room for progress. And being that the country has witnessed such system that is not far from a confederal system, which is a regional system of government, I know how things were moving according to the history, how things were moving perfectly well in the country.
That Nigeria has an Igbo problem. That for an Igbo man to survive in Nigeria, as it is currently put together, Nigeria must be.
So, but since the military came and changed the system of government, and finally the 1999 Constitution and the rest, I still believe that things are not the way it's supposed to. But if you talk now, they will say, is it not your brother that changed it to unitary system of government before? That is making reference to the Agui Ironsi. That is the one that changed the system to unitary system of government. So, but asked for, that is what Aburi Accord is talking about, the confederal system of government that is going to give room for people to practice whatever they want. Like in the north, where they have predominantly Muslim, you can do their Sharia, everything they want. In the east, anyhow they want, they do it. West, the same thing. So that is the best system for this country. And I bet you that if Nigeria can practice this confederal system of government or go back to regional system, all these problems will die down naturally. All this marginalization, all this whatever they call it, will die down because people will become in charge of their region. Yes, but I know that some minorities may be afraid that things may not be the way they want, but that is not the truth. That is not it. As having tested it before and see how things were moving well, the West, we have doing their cocoa, the North, their granite pyramid, the East, palm oil, and everything was moving well. Then Nigeria, Naira is about 60 kobo is about $1. You don't go abroad. You don't go to US to do what? Highest, you go there because their system is well organized. You go there and study, then you come back to Nigeria. People are coming in here for our Naira. That is the system that will make us to realize ourselves once again. And all these things will die down naturally. Yes, I believe that. And I know that so many people believed it. But people that are benefiting from this current system will not allow that to happen. Because they are in charge of the power. Everything is under their control. That's why they will not allow that to happen. That's what I said earlier sometime in my video, that from what I noticed presently, it doesn't matter. People don't look at the general picture. They look at their own benefit. Yes, people know that confederal system is the best system for Nigeria, but because that they are benefiting presently, they are in charge and they are benefiting presently, they will never allow that thing to happen. That is the truth about the situation. So, well, I want you to listen to this video and hear what message Sowore come out from their discussion with Nnamdi Kanu, what they were, talking about for the way forward for an Igbo man in Nigeria and for Nigeria at large. Let us not forget that if you hold person for ground, you hold yourself, you too, you are not going anywhere. And that is the situation that we find ourselves. So let's hear him.
We want to take charge in this country. Be careful of the Igbo. Don't give them position. Don't give them opportunity. Otherwise...
Talking about Biafra.
Yes.
You had a meeting with Nnamdi Kanu, and that sparked, in fact, I think
New York.
I think you got arrested after that meeting. People would say, you people are not fighting the same cause. You are fighting to be the president of the country. He is fighting to divide the country.
Yes.
People would say, why would you be seen in such a meeting? Would you like to clear that
You
air?
see, anybody that lacks any sense of consciousness would ignore social movements. That is the problem with Nigerian leadership. You cannot have a country in which there are 251 tribes or languages, and one big section says, we are not satisfied with here, and you don't talk to them, you don't understand them. Then you are not a leader of that country. The reason I met him was to understand first what his struggle was about, which I knew already. And secondly, to also advise him on the way that I think we could all work together. And thirdly, to send a message to the Nigerian people that we can walk through our differences, even at these levels. And I was surprised that, contrary to what some people are saying, he did not want Nigeria to break up. He wanted a Nigeria where the Igbo man can survive. But for an Igbo man to survive in Nigeria, as it is currently put together, Nigeria must break.
Wait, the meeting you had with Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
You are telling us now that Nnamdi Kanu, from what you understand from the meeting with him, he does not want Nigeria to break, to divide.
No, he said clearly that it is too late for Nigeria to come together. But he gave his conditions. We live streamed the meeting now. It's online.
Okay.
And part of it was live streamed. Some of them were private. But he said that he feels that if Nigeria were to respect certain protocols, including a referendum inserted in the constitution, and he still says it even now in court, that if he's released, he will go back and end the bloodshed. The bloodshed is in that part, and that a conversation can. He says that in every court appearance, that he's being held is not helping the opportunity to have a conversation about whatever it is, the unity you are begging for. But you see, Nigeria has a problem. And I've always said, Nigeria has an Igbo problem. And I'm not saying it to please people who are known as Igbos. But the moment they decided to take the action they took in 1967 to 1970, the war, Nigeria, having won that war in their eyes, never forgave the Igbos. That is the reality. And if I were to be president of Nigeria today, the first thing I would do is to head to the Southeast and apologize to them for the war. Part of it is that I'd never participated in it. And I cannot continue to fight a war that I did not engage in. And then ask them, what do we want?
So are you saying that the federal government has, till like even before
successive governments,
they've always had this anger against the Igbos?
There is a secret memo, I don't know where it is located, in government, that whenever we want to take charge in this country, be careful of the Igbo. Don't give them position. Don't give them opportunity. Otherwise, they will overrun. It's a well-known fact. Even our parents tell us, Igbo. You understand? Some of them even say unconsciously. They even say it on radio shows in this country. So don't let us lie to ourselves, because except we bring this out openly and discuss, it's a taboo that we have refused to discuss.
True.
We are not going to solve the problem. It is the reason why the federal government of Nigeria feels that detaining Nnamdi Kanu against all the court orders, against all the court rulings, is the only way to go. You know, I was detained in the DSS place for 5 months.
Yes.
There is nothing there to detain anybody. The place is not even functioning. The DSS headquarters. Yes, is it the same DSS people who are watching BB Nigeria from morning to night? No, it's true now. I was there with them for 5 months. I've said this publicly. So all the institutions in this country are broken down. But let's get back to the reality. One thing I've told people is that you are looking at Igbos as the only people who want to secede. But who in this country today has not mentally seceded from Nigeria.
Mentally seceded.
Who has not left, except those who are trapped. If anybody in this country is working in a bank and he has 10 million naira and somebody say you can get into Canada, he will leave the next day.
I swear.
Is that not secession? Is it what of secession is that you leave a country, you say to that country goodbye,
and not do it again.
You get to the other country, you bow down, you touch the
soil.
The soil.
And it's what they say, you go do it.
And then you renounce your citizenship of the country you are coming from. Is that not what they call secession?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to look at the number of people that have seceded in that Japa syndrome, there are more than all the Igbos combined together who are asking to leave. And in the process of keeping Nigeria united, we have let go of more citizens than the country should have. Yes.
So you think if they had, because I mean, from the last thing you said now, you say in the process of trying to keep Nigeria united,
yes,
we have let go of more citizens than we should have.
Of course.
So if we had allowed for the division or secession of Nigeria, most of our citizens that are outside would not have been outside.
No, you see, it is not the secession I'm talking about.
Okay, what are you talking about?
It is what led to the war that we did not address.
Okay.
And what happened after the war. Why is it that Nigeria hasn't been able to overcome the Biafran problem? It's because Nigeria never addressed what the Biafrans were asking for before the war.
What were they asking for?
They were asking for to be treated not as second-class citizens in this country. Don't you know what happened, the called pogrom in this country, where people were slaughtered and their bodies and their heads placed inside the train going down south? Yes, from the mid, the different parts of the north. Are we ignoring that? So
that happened
before the war.
Before the war, that's what they call pogrom.
History.
People who were settled, doing well, they were slaughtering them and sending their bodies and their heads inside calabash and sending on trains that was heading east.
Were they Easterners?
They were Easterners.
Yes,
Why are you asking me? It's there go and Google it now. So you expect that will happen, and then there was a war that eviscerated 3 million people.
Wow.
And when the war was over, you just say, oh, nobody was vanquished, nobody was victorious. And then
3 hours.
But you still kept a memo and said, don't trust them.
Collect people money,
yes,
give them 20 pounds.
And then you took their properties. Ojukwu did not get back JAMB until 1992 now, his father's house, that is known as JAMB headquarters here in Ikoyi. It was after he came back from Ivory Coast. It was Babangida, I think, that gave him back their property. So any country that is perpetually carrying out systemic injustice against will lose more citizens than they should have. The reason why countries that are work is because citizens believe in their country. And you cannot force that belief. It has to come through social justice.
True.
It has to come through economic justice. Why is it that, my children can feel like they're US citizens?
Well, having watched this video, I want to believe that you watched every aspect of that video, having reached this point. So, and I want you to let us know what you think. If you're in the position to do that, give us the idea of what to think about the situation that we find ourselves and the possible way out of it. Thank you.